Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we have another admission from a Hoyoverse CC when it comes to how Hoyo has been sabotaging Wuthering Waves once again. If you've actually been keeping up with my channel, there was an incident like this that actually occurred before with none other than Wallenstein's about 5 months ago, where another CC that was affiliated with WuWa was actually approached by Hoyoverse, and the request was, stop making WuWa content so we can give you a Genshin contract. And boy oh boy, did that not go over very well, and it seems like it's happening again with Kekvin. And if you know about Kekvin, well, he's primarily a Honkai Star Rail creator. So let's hear a little bit about why he dropped Wuthering Waves.
So, I dropped Wuthering Waves. 1 year ago today, I decided I'm no longer going to cover the game. I had spent about 1 month on my YouTube channel covering the game, and then it all came to an end. Until very recently. And today we're going to talk about my story covering Wuthering Waves, why I dropped it in the first place, why I decided to come back, and why at the time I thought Genshin Impact was a better game.
You what?
Today we're going to talk about all of it and how Wuthering Waves has completely reinvented and changed my mind on its game. Boys, I think this is one of the better redemption stories. Let's get straight into it. So back during the WuWa 1.0 update, I was actually a pretty big content creator for the game. I would say pretty big, it's relative. But early on into the game, I was covering it pretty normally on my channel. I was doing about 35k, 22k, 49k. I was doing pretty well on my Wuthering Waves.
For the release of the game, that's very good. I would say that's probably some of the highest viewership stuff across the release of the game for sure.
Videos. Early on, I was having a lot of fun in the game. I joined the creator server. I was playing pretty much every day. And then it all came crashing down. The amount of issues that came out during WuWa 1.0 is, I'm sure, something that I don't need to reiterate to you all, because I'm sure we're all familiar with it. But during the 1.0 launch, I would consider it one of the most, if not the most disastrous launch in gacha gaming history. It was a very buggy launch. There were a ton of unpolished issues that definitely need to be sorted out before they release the game. I think if they had just given it maybe 1 or 2 extra months and polished out some of those more finer details, they definitely would have had a lot better product upon launch.
When it comes to the launch, a lot of people had some very different experiences. And this is my headcanon when it comes to the launch. There were some individuals with like some dog shit PCs and like some dog shit phones that, in all honesty, probably shouldn't have even been able to like install the game at all. And then those individuals with really bad tech were publicizing the issues that they were having. And then a lot of shills that were clearly wishing for the downfall of the game. And when you know that Hoyoverse is on the record asking people to not cover the game, guys, is it really outside of the realm of possibility for Hoyoverse to have really done a marketing campaign for how bad WuWa's launch was? When you know that WuWa's anniversary was astroturfed as well by Hoyoverse players, and there was a bunch of doom posting about the anniversary that was confirmed by the Reddit mods, would it be so crazy for Hoyo to do a little bit of extra work to really accentuate how bad WuWa's launch is? I don't know, right? That's the thing. I'm just theorizing what could have occurred. But when there's already this many instances, and this is the thing, Kekvin's going to talk about how Hoyo asked him not to cover WuWa as well. I mean, And so him kind of talking a lot about the launch and knowing how many individuals had no issues at all, right? And the issues that we do see, and the ones that he covered in here, right? Like assets not loading and stuff like that. This is kind of like a sign of some really dog shit tech that's running the game in the first place. There's a lot of stuff that I feel like was happening behind the scenes during the early months of WuWa. And I would not be surprised, knowing Hoyoverse's track record that's been proven, if they had a hand to play. Wouldn't surprise me at all. I'm not going to say that they did it, though.
Extra months and polished out some of those more finer details, they definitely would have had a lot better product upon launch, but nonetheless, they weren't finished out. There were problems with mobile gaming, with some of the funniest screenshots I've ever seen, with characters getting completely bugged out of the game.
And one of the reasons for why I think Hoyo kind of had a hand in it was the fact that ZZZ arguably had a worse launch. We're talking about how the mobile graphics and stuff, right, were a little bit wonky. ZZZ didn't even let you install the game on mobile if your tech was too old. You would go into the App Store, try to download it, and it would tell you it will not run on your phone. I'm going to be honest here. Having a game that's straight up you can't even download or even try to play is way worse than a game that you can download that you're able to run, but then it doesn't run that well. One, you can at least try to play the game and install it. The other, you have to buy a whole new phone or whole new tech to be able to even try playing it. I'm going to be real, guys, right? ZZZ's launch issues at a baseline had to have been worse. But nobody talks about ZZZ's launch. Nobody talks about how bad ZZZ's launch was. Why is that? When its issues were worse.
There was an extremely underwhelming story that felt drawn out, somewhat boring, and voice acting that just wasn't there. Or more specifically, I should say, voice direction that just wasn't there.
City established in Huanglong, located in inner Huanglong.
Okay, everybody, okay. Everyone knows that Yang Yang and En was like, I think that's something that everyone can universally agree on. Yeah, Yang Yang and En in 1.0 was kind of a bit of a miss.
While Zhenzhou is in outer Huanglong.
There's some very funny clips from early on where it sounds like Rover's supposed to be screaming, but instead of screaming, they're just like talking to Scar.
You're not going anywhere.
But nonetheless, the 1.0 story was, I would say, a big down point of Wuthering Waves.
Yeah, I feel like at this point, he's talking a little bit too much about 1.0.
A lot of other complaints.
Then again, it only has been like 2 minutes, so I think he's going to get into some more of the meaty stuff.
That I've seen online that maybe I didn't feel, but just reiterating some other complaints where it felt like a second Genshin, which I'm going to be honest, I think they take a lot of inspiration from Genshin. But you know what? You take inspiration for the best and you make it better, which is exactly what Wuthering Waves has done since their 1.0 launch. Some more complaints include it was too grindy, which I do understand. At the time, I was playing 4 gacha games, and Wuthering Waves was, I think, my third, and then I picked up, I think Zenless came out after Wuthering.
Is he trying to justify why he's leaving WuWa? I think right now he's trying to get into, like, the reasons for why he initially stopped making content for the game in the first place, right? Because clearly the goal for Kekvin right now is to get back into WuWa content creation. And so I think what he wants to do for the community is provide all of like the in-depth reasons for why he quit in the first place. To me, it seems like a bit of a balance between he wants to actually do his best to point out all of the issues that led up to it in the first place, and then also not make it seem like, oh, he's just like straight up was like shilling against the game for why he quit, right? Because for a lot of Hoyoverse creators, one thing very clear, think about people like Flip, right? One thing that's really clear about a lot of Hoyo shill creators is that they didn't actually give the game a chance and don't actually have reasons for why they quit or didn't cover it, other than it just being a competitor to WuWa. That's basically, that's the same exact perspective of like a fucking clown like Flip. So I think he's trying to like paint the narrative over here that it's not like he quit or did any of this stuff because he was just Hoyo affiliated.
So I was playing all 4 at a time, which definitely took a big toll on me and was definitely a very large reason into why I ended up dropping the game, was because I just simply couldn't handle playing the 4 big gachas all at once.
And you want to know what I bet he regrets the most? Quitting WuWa to play ZZZ instead. I'm pretty sure that's the biggest regret that most people have if they were ever juggling the big 4 like that, was shelving WuWa to play ZZZ instead. Because guess what? The only content creators active for ZZZ right now are those that are actively getting paid for Hoyoverse or paid by Hoyoverse. There is no CC that was originally covering other gacha games that now covers ZZZ. Fobmaster might say that he covers ZZZ. Bro's YouTube channel does not count. Fobmaster does not count when his YouTube channel fucking, I mean, I'm just gonna be real here, right? I don't know how a guy who gets 2K CCV on YouTube ends up with like a YouTube channel that fucking looks like this. Like, is bro view botting? Like, like, the translation of Twitch viewers to YouTube, like, Fob will get more CCV than views on a video. It almost doesn't make sense to me. And you can see over here, right? Yes, he technically does cover ZZZ, but, like, barely. It's like what? It's like barely. And that's the current situation of it.
Even though I would have loved to drop Genshin at the time, I simply couldn't because I was contractually obligated to play Genshin at the time.
So that's the truth of the matter, ladies and gentlemen. So you know how he said at the start, he thought that Genshin was a better game? He thought Genshin was a better game because he was getting paid to think that Genshin was the better game. Okay? So yes, I know there are a lot of people that were like baby raging, saying clickbait and all of that stuff. Guys, it's about, you know, it's not even that long of a video. And we're getting the truth 3 minutes in. We're not even a fourth of the way in. Why, like, you guys need to relax just because it's somebody that made Hoyoverse contract. Or that made Hoyoverse content. He literally just says he was contracted to like the game.
And in fact, even a larger egg among that, which you may find a bit of an interesting tidbit, because I was contracted to play Genshin, the people who were contracting me to play the game had actually advised me to make less Wuthering Waves content.
It's the same photo. Oh, man. It's the same exact photo. It's Naru Meru again. It's Wallenstein's again. It's Hoyoverse coming in, trying to control the content that a creator makes on their channel because they're scared of competition, because they are terrified at the idea that one of their CCs, Hoyo wants to claim ownership of these people, that one of their CCs would dare cover a competitor's game. And I guess this is the situation over here. You've got to be somebody as big as Doro44, where you get the views, you get the content, you get like the flow on your channel to where Hoyoverse can't actually bully you around. Because Doro, in my opinion, is one of like, I think the only Genshin creators with enough sway to be able to secure their own WuWa contracts and like not have to worry about Hoyoverse coming in and then trying to restrict them from getting their slice of the pie. But these other guys, right? I don't think they have the views. I don't think they have like the sway necessarily to be able to like negotiate with Hoyoverse. By negotiate, I mean tell them to fuck off, right? And cover WuWa in that way. Same with like Brand Online, right? They got to be more of like those tenured CCs. But those other guys, oh man, I really don't think that they have that level of flexibility. Because why is it that it's the smaller creators, they're the ones being told not to make WuWa content? Why are the smaller creators the only ones that are being told that they can't make WuWa content, or that they're heavily suggested not to? But then these guys, the biggest Hoyo affiliated CCs, they're the ones that are openly making WuWa content. And so we got Hoyo basically just bullying smaller CCs into restricting the type of content that they can make so that Hoyo can monopolize their careers and their YouTube channels. Because if the channel's too big, they can't do that. Man, what a phenomenon. Man, who could have expected that? Why is it that this company does so much shady shit behind the scenes?
Now, I eventually broke my contract off from these people, but that's a larger egg for another day. I think we'll leave that untouched for now, but know that I did have content restrictions from a third party that did not allow me to cover Wuthering Waves as much, which was another factor that ultimately led me to drop the game in the 1.0 launch.
That's rough, brother. That's rough. Wow. That is... And people were telling you that these contracts weren't restrictive. You had Flip make an hour-long video talking about how Hoyoverse contracts are not restrictive, that they don't stop you from playing other games, and yet we have multiple CCs coming out of the woodworks to indicate that is exactly what is taking place. Who do you think's telling the truth, guys? All the CCs that are coming out with this information, or one Hoyo shill creator who, in a video this long, was just openly spreading misinformation, right? Having an entire section called the Hoyoverse contract misinformation, and it's completely bullshit.
The content creator.
Huh. What a situation. And you wonder why this community is considered one of the most toxic in gacha gaming. It's because you have idiots like this making stupid content like this because they're so desperate for their own Hoyo contract. What a disaster.
I think I played until about maybe early Changli, uploaded a video on Changli, and then I never ended up coming back. And then there was no Wuthering Waves on my channel for the next 1 year. I ultimately decided to drop Genshin Impact and Zenless Zone Zero as well.
Hey, who did it? Yeah, the real question is, who didn't drop ZZZ? As far as I'm concerned, I don't know a single person that didn't drop it. Guys, low-key, I'm about to drop it as well. Becoming
a purely Honkai Star Rail channel, which I do think was something I regret doing. I should have dropped Genshin earlier. I should have broke my contract earlier, continued to play Wuthering Waves, but it's really hard to...
Remember what I said at the start of the video, guys? That one of his biggest regrets is probably sticking with ZZZ and dropping WuWa. There you go. There you go.
Trajectory of a game, and I didn't expect Wuthering Waves to get this much better. And I think when it started to all improve was around the 2.0 update.
If we're going to be honest, Wuthering Waves was an amazing game starting from version 1.3. Yeah, that's my personal take on the timeline. Starting from 1.3, Wuthering Waves was like a AAA super high quality game. All these people talking about how 2.0 changed literally everything and that WuWa was like a steaming pile of doo-doo after, or until 2.0. I just think they didn't play the fucking game until 2.0. And they're kind of like just going ahead with this narrative that 2.0 literally changed everything. It started in 1.3. It's just most people simply didn't play it. It is what it is, right? But all the day one players that have been playing since launch will tell you that 1.3 was, without a doubt, like the next level for the game.
Wuthering Waves. Now, there were good stories before the 2.0 update. I actually played the 1.3 Black Shore update. That had an amazing...
Guys, this is not pre-watched, okay? This shit came out 2 hours ago while I was on stream. So it's just... I'm just telling you how it is.
Story, but I think the update as a whole was probably a little lackluster. But version 2.0 is when everything changed for Wuthering Waves. There were major quality of life improvements. We're talking flying. They added flying to the game, which was super dope. Not that their movement wasn't already superior to everything else at the time, being like grappling, wall running. Their movement has always been superior to every other gacha game that I can think of.
True.
But on top of that, they introduced one of the best stories, being the early 2.0 Rinascita story, which was very, very compelling and one I enjoyed very much. Now, they have expanded since then. We're going to get into that. But there was also the new region of Rinascita, which is just, again, another fun region to explore.
You know what's... This video is like... It's both like funny and also like painful. Because you just hear this guy that like dropped the game, right? Because of like legal reasons, because of Hoyoverse. And now he's just like running through all of like these reasons for why the game is like fucking amazing and like really good. It's like bro's been actually... This is like thoughts from the cuck chair. Like, it's not Kekvin anymore, it is Cuckvin. He actually got cucked out of covering Wuthering Waves by Hoyoverse. I don't know any other way to describe it. Like, he got put fucking chained by his hands and feet to the cuck chair by Hoyo's contracts. Just watching WuWa explode and become like a fucking ridiculous, crazy fucking game. And like, he's just sitting there and like, Hoyo's literally not letting him cover it. Brother, that's fucking crazy. Warning glaze overload. Yo, this is warning cuck overload, brother. Holy.
Because with the introduction of flying and the already good movement techniques in the game, it just made for an even more fun experience.
I'm sorry. Now with that context, I feel so bad for him.
Playing and interacting with the world.
I just
Not to mention the
bad.
amount of free polls they gave out that update. I think it was a ludicrous amount. I remember I actually logged in for that update, just so I can go and get one character. And then I ended up getting that character and then logging off again because unfortunately 2.0 was not enough to convince me to come back. Even with the rover gender switching, the immersion mode, the early boss access, new echoes and weapons, all of that.
And do realize, guys, for him to come back, this isn't a matter of like 2.0 not being good enough to cover it. This is a matter of 2.0 not being good enough for him to break his contract with Hoyoverse. I hope you guys understand that. It's not like, oh, 2.0 was like too mid for me to start covering the game. It's not good enough for me to break my contractual obligation to Hoyoverse. That's the actual framing of it.
Wasn't enough to convince me to come back to the game. I was still a doubter. In 2.0, I still thought, I don't think this game's going to make a comeback. I saw the new characters. I saw Carlotta. I saw Rosia. I pulled Rosia. And in fact...
Because one thing about Hoyoverse and their contracts, guys, is job security. Because right now, Hoyoverse is like too big to fail, right? They get in too much money. Genshin has too big of an established player base. They have too much of like these already like existing systems and resources for the games to like ever truly fail. And so having a Hoyo contract is without a doubt like a kind of like smoother ride, right? Because you know that this company is not going to just like go under within a year. Like you can have confidence, right? That this contract that you're signing, you're probably going to be able to get all of the revenue from it in perpetuity. And the thing for WuWa was like, well, when all you're hearing is Doom posting, and all you're hearing is Doom posting from probably like his client contacts and all of that, well, naturally you might assume that the game is actually fucked. So, yeah.
Even right now, I have Rosia on my account, but I haven't built her yet.
Just don't even bother building her, bro. She's so dog shit, it's unbelievable.
I really need to build this character. I really need to get to this. I will eventually.
No, just use Sanhua instead.
But all of that wasn't enough to convince me to come back. I think it was probably just a mix of I was busy with HSR at the time, and I think there might have been a big HSR patch, so I just really wasn't paying attention to what was happening in WuWa.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. This guy got fucked in the ass by Hoyo. That's pretty much like my main takeaway from this is that he probably got stun locked by the 11-hour Amphoreus quest, and then 3.0 ends up being a steaming pile of dog shit. And so it's like ZZZ's bad, Genshin's bad, HSR is like also bad, starting at the start of the year, and it's just like, bro, literally just got like, I'm not gonna lie. Hoyoverse low-key, like, ruined the trajectory of his career. Because the thing is, a lot of people are saying that this was a series of bad decisions by him that led to the whole, like, not coming back to WuWa. But, guys, you can't say it was a bad decision, because for it to be a bad decision, you would have to know that 3.0 was going to be a piece of shit. Guys, the expectations were really high for Amphoreus. Like, people thought Amphoreus was going to be really, really good. Because otherwise, how else would I be able to get this many views on a video calling 3.0 a steaming pile of ass? There's no other way I'd get 153K talking about how dog shit the update was unless people's expectations were fucking shattered by how bad it was. This is what I mean. Nobody thought 3.0 was going to be this bad. 7.1K likes, 223 dislikes. That's very close to a 99%. Guys, this is what I mean. Nobody expected 3.0 to be this fucking awful. And certainly not the guy where HSR was the main game he was covering. Okay? Hindsight's gonna be 20/20 for everything, boys. Right? When you know everything that's happened, you can clearly say that some decisions were way worse than others. But it's like, you can't say the decision to stick with HSR, knowing that Amphoreus is coming out, was necessarily a bad one. But you can say it is a bad one because of how fucking bad Amphoreus actually was. But it's, again, bro's not a fucking mind reader. He's not the fucking Oracle of Delphi. Like, relax.
Kind of blind to it. I don't interact with a lot of community discussion, so unless it like super blows up on YouTube, I usually don't hear about it. So it wasn't like I really made a decision to not play 2.0. I just didn't really hear about it. It's only now that I'm learning about everything that they did in 2.0 and how much better it was.
He was busy stuck in the 10-hour Amphoreus quest, unfortunately. And so that's why he didn't get any news about 2.0. It took him about a week of a full work week just to get through the Amphoreus quest.
Than everything else at the time. And looking back at it, I'm like, man, I really wish I came back during that update.
This is what he actually means to say. Damn, I wish I had quit HSR before Amphoreus came out, because that patch was so fucking bad it was unbelievable. And I wish I had just fully converted over to WuWa instead of even covering Amphoreus at all.
It would have been really cool. But nonetheless, another 2 updates patches. We had 2.1, 2.2. I don't think anything too crazy happened during those updates.
Just very good story and good filler patch.
Same thing with 2.3. I don't
Just more Doom posting from Hoyo shills.
think there was any.
Probably on Hoyo's payroll. Hey, this is my take. If Hoyo is going to their CCs and telling them that they can't cover WuWa, I think that there's a very high probability Hoyo was paying people to talk shit about WuWa. That's what I'm gonna say. If they were doing that for CCs, there is no surprise at all to me if Hoyo was paying people to talk shit about WuWa. Where's the proof that Hoyo did that? Oh. Alright, we got Wotads over here. Hey, Wotads, there you go. Special delivery for you, buddy. Here's the proof that Hoyo was paying people not to cover WuWa. And if Hoyo's gonna pay people not to cover WuWa, why in God's name is it unbelievable for them to pay people to talk shit about it? Sorry, Wotads is probably rebooting. How is it an L when I didn't know this? Because it's a 72k view video from 5 months ago, and so to not know this kind of just shows that you're misinformed and a little dumb. So yeah, I guess, hey, you do self-reports like that in this chat all the time.
Anything too crazy that happened during those updates. It was just good stories, new region, a bunch of good characters, like Zani I know came out, and the craziest character of all time, that one jellyfish lady with the tongue thing. Now that almost convinced me to come back. But nonetheless, I didn't really hear a lot of hype around WuWa until what came with the 2.4 update, being the Cardathia release. Cardathia, I think? Cardathia? That's when...
Okay, this guy just lost like 500 aura from pronouncing it like that.
all the hype came back to Wuthering Waves. And I started to get rings of, oh, I'm missing out. And I realized, what have I been doing?
You guys got to think about this, right? There's pretty much no channel out there that currently covers HSR and WuWa at the same time. Because the two audiences are inherently going to be split, where you have stupid people playing HSR because it's one of the most brain-dead turn-based games ever. There's no strategy involved with that game. It's literally pull the newest characters or just don't play the endgame. And so it's kind of just like, you have like an audience base that just don't really like convert into content. Mr. Pokey tries to upload WuWa content, but WuWa is too hard of a game for HSR players because they're literally used to like just sitting, they only have 3 buttons that they can press, brother. Like you can't expect them to be to have any playability at all in a game that has more than 3 buttons. Like they even released My Day, who only has 2 buttons. So it's like, that's kind of like the situation, is that you know that the audiences aren't going to mesh, and at this point in time, HSR was his main game, and he can't convert the audience over to WuWa very easily. And so, I guess the thing is that you can clearly see kind of like the internal struggle that's going on, especially when you've made your entire career already covering Hoyo games. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, why didn't this dumbass just cover WuWa earlier? Why is he always talking about the ways that he couldn't cover WuWa? Because making that transition is difficult, boys. How do you think a guy like this has been sustaining himself, right? Quite a bit from the contracts. What do you think's going to occur the second you start covering WuWa if you were previously a contracted Hoyo creator? Do you think you're going to get another Hoyo contract? So, you got to think about breaking the initial contract, and then you also got to come to terms with the fact that you're probably not going to get another contract again unless you're as big as like a Doro 44 or a Ziox or a Bran. You gotta be that big to guarantee that the contract is coming back. And I don't think he was at that point.
I'm in the middle of playing HSR. I vehemently hate that story. I think Honkai Star Rail is one of the worst stories in gacha gaming, and I will stand on that. I wasn't playing Genshin. I'm kind of playing ZZZ, but I wasn't following up on the story. And I'm hearing all this, oh, WuWa has such a great story.
He's literally in the cuck chair. He's literally in the cuck chair, bro. He's like sitting there, like, he's like crying as he's playing Amphoreus. He's like crying as he's playing Amphoreus, bro. Like watching everybody else like fuck around in Avenolium and Septimont, and bro's literally crying in the cuck chair, going through the 3.0 story. Holy shit!
So I said, fine. And I went back to the game starting at the 1.3 update because I was still at the 1.3 story. I hadn't progressed up until then. And originally, I had wanted to go live and experience it with my viewers. But what I actually realized is that interacting to stories live, it's just not something I enjoy doing. I really want...
Yeah, it's something that other people don't like doing either. That's why they end up giving 7 out of 10 ratings and then also proceeding to get canceled by the community afterwards.
To immerse myself in the story, and I can just do that way better when I'm playing it alone. So I loaded it up on
Hey, that's good advice for some creators out there.
my PlayStation. I sat in my bed and I went through the whole 1.3 story all the way up till 2.0, maybe 2.3, I think, in about 2 sittings. And holy crap, was it ever an experience.
I'm gonna be honest, it sounds like whatever he was saying about the 2.0 story, I don't even know if he actually played it. Maybe he should have just cut that part out, because, yeah, he just said it was good now.
I'm now in love with Shorekeeper in real
I thought he said the 1.3 story was, like, kind of mid.
life. Favorite story until the latest one. Carthea, amazing. Lupa, oh my gosh, don't even get me started on Lupa. Lupa, probably also my favorite character. There's 2
All I know for sure is this guy ain't getting another Hoyo contract. Yeah, that ship might have sailed. That ship with his Hoyo contract on it went on the Pilgrim's Voyage. It's gone, bucko.
many good characters. I swear every WuWa story is like one character story mixed with a main chapter story all into one, and they're expanding so much on all these characters that it literally just makes you want to pull them all. And so I did pull them all. I came back to 2.3. Pulled me a Carthea and a Lupa, and I've never regretted it. I got Lupa's weapon too, and boys, I've never been having more fun in gacha gaming than I am with this.
I've never had more fun in gacha gaming than I have with this. I'm sorry. I gotta look at the video history, boys. Ooh, that's rough. Ooh, that's rough, brother. Ooh, 3 years is a long time. 3 years is a long time, brother. Whew. Bro was farming back in the day, too. Bro was like 160, 70k view vids, just talking about random. Damn, bro was in fact farming back in the day.
Honestly, it's not even something I even really want to cover on YouTube because I actually enjoy it so much that other than like maybe building videos and pulling videos, I just want to experience it all myself. I'm greedy. I don't want to experience it with you guys.
He's also stupid.
Because then I'm forced to do commentary. I have to think of funny jokes on the spot. I can't just lock in, which is something I want to do.
I feel like he's unintentionally throwing shade.
Especially with this. But getting into more of the 2.4 update, it was such a great update for Wuthering Waves. A crap ton of free pulls. Also, oh my gosh. Yeah, that too, which was cinema. Carthea being one of the best DPSs in the whole game, being HP scaling, arrow DPS, has like some really cool combat abilities that I haven't seen in any characters like her. Definitely has some of the best animations in gacha gaming history. I still think HSR probably takes the cake with the Phynon and the Dragon being super freaking dope. But nonetheless, what HSR was...
I think that's a personal preference thing. I don't think that's too crazy of a take to make. Because yes, Finon's animations do look quite good, so do Casterus's. I'm not going to go ahead and say that he's like a fucking shill, because he happens to think that those animations are comparable. I think that's a pretty normal take to have. Okay, relax, guys.
Able to do with Cardathea, with Lupa, is something I've never seen before. There's never been an update that's made me want to pull a character. The second half of 2.4 has been my favorite story of all time. The first half was good too. Getting to Septimont, learning about Augusta, and I can't remember the blue-haired character's name, but she was super cool too.
Boo Ling?
Learning about the lore of that city, getting all this mystery, and then not getting any conclusions was so frustrating. But then the second half in 2.4, when they start slowly unraveling the mysteries one by one by one by one, and learning more about Lupa and her purpose in the story, in the past with Maya and Trailblazer, letting Lupa be the main character, and that final action battle with Lupa versus Maya, or technically the Thenodian, and them fighting was one of the sickest scenes I've ever seen. And then Lupa breaking out, coming.
Bro's coming too. Yeah, I feel like he really enjoyed the 2.4 quest. You can probably tell. This guy is... I don't know how else to say this. Bro just sounds like a fan. Bro just sounds like a fucking fan. Like, he's like, this guy, like, is just a fucking Wuthering Waves nerd. Literally unloading his fucking brain, like just word vomiting everywhere, just glazing the fuck out of the story.
To hug Cardathea and Rover had me in tears. It was so moving, that whole story. And Lupa easily became one of my favorite characters based on that. And also, that boy, Cristolfo, whatever that...
You know what? Knowing that Kekvin is the same guy that... we're gonna have to go dumpster diving, boys. We're gonna go dumpster diving in a comment section. When I know that Kekvin...
Criticism, but...
left this comment on a video... Enviosity of the WuWa community. Praise the Lord of going to Kurofest and spending money on gacha games. Truly a monumental feat none have ever accomplished. Yeah, I don't know, guys. He might be in the top 5 Kuro bots. He might have only uploaded about 3 WuWa videos, but he might be in the top 5 of Kuro bots. I'm going to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. Now I see why it feels like there are so many hidden shots in this vid. That's probably why it feels like there are some hidden shots directed at certain CCs that weren't necessarily paying too much attention to the story. The pieces are all connecting.
That dude name is. I do not mess with him at all. But nonetheless, that was my favorite update in probably all of gacha gaming. Easily. And... since then,
I personally thought the 2.4 quest as a whole, yeah, that thing was easily in the 9 to 9.5 to 10 territory, depending on how you're framing it.
I've been so in love with WuWa.
And I think he gave all the reasons for it, right? You could tell this guy's like super excited. He's like, it's actually been like free, bro. Like you know, like that one image, right? Where it's like the person and it's like that and like they're fucking... like handcuffs are like breaking. That is what this video seems like.
It's been all I've been wanting to do recently, and that's been even more impacted by the 2.5 update with the introduction of Furlova, who again had a really good character quest, or main story quest. I'm gonna be honest, these main quests are such character quests, but main story quests are this all, I said this before, but they're all kind of mixed as one, and they do such a good job at just...
You want to know another game that tries to mix character story quests into the main story? Zenless Zone Zero. Oh, and do they not do it well? Oh, no siree. They do not do that shit well. Oh my god. Basically, ZZZ is how to mix character story quests with main story quests in an awful way. WuWa is how you do it properly. Because, good lord, ZZZ 2.1's main story has to be one of the worst written pieces of media that has ever been released in the past decade. Literally one of the worst pieces of media that any company has produced. Jesus fucking Christ. Like, the fact that there aren't more people calling out how dogshit ZZZ 2.1 story is actually one of the reasons why I feel like just quitting the game completely. the community is like just completely deaf to the real concerns and the real things that are actively making the game worse and just want to mindlessly shill the fuck out of it. Good God, what a dog shit story update. And the fact that this community just seems to be glazing the ever-living shit out of a subpar, low-quality product is a little bit absurd.
Building up these characters in the main story quest as a character quest, even though rest in peace for Lova. Well, they do such a good job of building up these characters. And again, you know, I had to pull for Lova. Never got her weapon because sad, but I had to pull her. There wasn't an option.
Hoyo contract money ran out.
Again, another super fun character. I love her gameplay. I love her animations. I love how animated everything is in this game. I always go through this game, and whenever I'm watching a story, I think, okay, when's the black wall white text gonna appear? And you know, the one time it appears, it's with the most emotional words for Lova's ever said, and it comes at a time when you're not expecting it, and then...
But the best implementation of black screen with white text is being told that Black Swan touched her forehead with March 7th. What do you mean? That's the best way to do it.
when it appears,
just take shit that clearly should have been animated but wasn't done because the devs are lazy as fuck.
you're like, oh crap. And you know exactly what she's talking about, and it has so much meaning. And it's not used as a function to like not do an animation. For example, when HSR does black screen white text, they do it so they don't have to animate it. For example, Saber eating a burger. They have to write that out because they can't pay to have Saber eat the burger. But at the one moment where WuWa does it, it's for an emotional impact. It's for Lova's, I think, final words in the story. And I think it's all about waiting for the rover and her time waiting for the rover, which I thought was such a beautiful story. And I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, that checks out. Yeah. Yeah, he practices what he preaches. Yeah. Yeah, he do.
And I think that about covers my journey with Wuthering Waves, why I dropped it, why I came back to it, and what I absolutely love about it now. I think it's one of the greatest gacha games, if not the greatest gacha game of our generation. Will there be a better one in the future? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I probably glazed a little too much in this video, but
I'm gonna be real with you. Kekvin is now easily eligible. I think he's met all the prerequisites to be in at least the top 5 Kurobot rankings. I feel like seeing an HSR focused or just Hoyo affiliated creator basically just bend over, get on his knees, and just start actually going at it to this high of a degree was absolutely fucking insane. And the only thing that I'm thinking about across this video is like how much this guy regrets the last year when it comes to content creation. I feel like I've never heard somebody like just have like this much outward regret when it comes to like getting restricted by Hoyo contracts, you know, not deciding to come back, not willing to like sacrifice, you know, that invested time in HSR, and then just kind of like seeing how he's been like riding this almost like sinking ship that has been HSR, Hoyoverse, ZZZ, Genshin, all of these games, while WuWa's just been like, you know, maintaining and then going even faster and faster. But I guess this is the time. This is the moment. This is him actually making a stand when it comes to this game. And in all honesty, seems like he's trying to dictate the future of his content and his channel. And if it's going to be focused on WuWa, well, I think that future's looking pretty bright because god fucking damn, was playing HSR through Amphoreus probably one of the worst plays this guy could have made. I think 90% of HSR CCs actually quit the game because of Amphoreus. And now you get to see what it looks like when one person actually decides to stay on. They end up quitting 5 months later, too. That'll be that, ladies and gentlemen. Awesome video by Kekvin. I think we're going to have to give the like and the sub. Didn't really give the sub before because I don't consume HSR content. But we are now, because I think he's going to start making some WuWa stuff. So, let's be on the lookout for that, ladies and gentlemen. We got a new Kurobot in the midst. Seems like Hoyo Sabotage. Seems like Hoyo versus Sabotage, ladies and gentlemen. Well, they tried it again, but I don't think it's going to work. Because you got to combine that with not making your games dog shit if you actually do want people to you know, stay exclusive. How about don't make your games trash? Just a little tip. That'll be that, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you all thought. Peace.